Hello geeks, this is Bob, and this is also cityofgeek.com, and we're here today to talk about the 2019 version of Dumbo. Baby of mine. I haven't seen 1941's Dumbo for a very, very long time, so it doesn't really have a lot in my memory of what we're working with, so I'm taking this review in this movie completely on its own. Only things I really remember, of course, is the elephant flying, riding it at Disneyland, the talking mouse teaching him how to fly, some stuff with clowns, pig elephants in parade, and the racial caricature crows, who are not in this version at all. So I'm just going purely on what we see in this movie, of how it works as adaptation, what's different, what's changed. I really don't know. I presume that the original didn't have to do a lot with the human characters, that it was Dumbo's story more than it was the humans and what they're going through here, which puts Dumbo in the secondary character status in his own movie here, which is one of the several issues I had with it. But we can get into that in just a moment. Let's first make sure we're on the same page here. So 2019's Dumbo is written by Aaron Cougar and directed by Tim Burton, and is a fantasy family live-action film based upon the 1941 film from Walt Disney Animation Studios. It follows a family, Colin Farrell and his two kids. It's 1919, just after World War I has ended. Spanish flu has also come through and killed the kid's mom while he was away fighting for the war, which he comes back missing an arm, and he kind of has to reacclimate to the circus society they live in, head up by Danny DeVito as a circus master, playing a similar role to 2004's Big Fish from Tim Burton, his best of his later era movies, if you ask me. And the circus itself is starting to fail, so they're not quite pulling it together. They've sold off a lot of things. A lot of people have left or passed away thanks to the flu, or all the men have gone to war. So we're picking up those pieces, and along with that, Danny DeVito's character buys a Jumbo, the elephant, who's pregnant with Dumbo, who of course he comes out with the giant ears. Everyone ridicules him. The mom freaks out on a evil circus worker, gets labeled a mad elephant and shipped away. Along the way, they learn to teach Dumbo how to fly to help save the circus. As soon as that happens, the entire circus gets sold to a Walt Disney type character played by Michael Keaton, and so it's kind of loose. There's not a lot of theme running through. Aaron Cougar's script is very basic. It's point A to point B to point C, without a lot of character depth, without a lot of ideas that they're really going with. It's kind of, it's a little all over the place. It's Dumbo's story in one way, it's Colin Farrell's character another way, it's Danny DeVito's in this, none of which come an A story, so it feels a little loose. In an hour and 55 minutes, it feels like it probably could have cut down a bunch. Aaron Cougar is a writer I've never really liked. He did one really great movie, The Ring, adapted from the Japanese film. He's done a couple mid-level ones, Skeleton Key, I kind of like Scream 3 in many cases, Arlington Road, solid, and then a lot of crap, many of the Transformers movies. And I was hoping that Tim Burton's direction would bring it up to another level, so we have a Tim Burton film, and unfortunately it's later era Tim Burton. Yeah, anyone who knows him and grew up with him and his movies. Early Tim Burton is amazing, and then kind of cuts off as time goes by. And I'm 36, so I grew up with Beetlejuice and the first Batman and Batman Returns, which is still my favorite Batman movie. Michael Keaton still my favorite Batman. I love everything up until about Big Fish, and then after that it just kind of Frank Weeni's pretty solid, but this isn't a review of Tim Burton's career. This is a review of Dumbo. So back to Dumbo. There isn't a lot of Tim Burton there. You can see his influences a little bit. We got circus, we got a love of oddballs and freaks and oddities, and we got a lot of Danny Elfman scoring. And when the movie's working best is when Danny Elfman's score is going full Danny Elfman. It almost feels like he lifted Edward Scissorhands' score and put it in this movie, because you get the choralness, and when it's that mystical fantasy elements. A couple of the flying scenes, the entirety of the climax, and Pink Elephants on Parade are the three main Tim Burton-y moments that kind of start to really feel into the film. Pink Elephants on Parade, of course, is ripped from the 1941 version that scarred us all as kids. Takes that score, Danny Elfman puts his level on there, and it makes this really cool sequence. So Tim Burton's directing is really lack. It doesn't have the flair that I expect out of Burton. It doesn't have the polish and the fun that the whimsy that you normally expect. I mean, I don't expect everything to be like that, but even like these are the more serious movies like Ed Wood still have that Tim Burtonist to them, and that's just not here. I don't know if it's Disney kind of putting their notes. I don't know if not everyone really caring. I don't know if he cares anymore, but that's all conjecture. And I did mention everyone not really caring, and that's unfortunately it comes through with the acting as well. Colin Farrell's an actor I normally enjoy watching and everything he's in. He usually gives it his all, even in crap like Daredevil. He really tried for Bullseye. He looked like he was having a good time. Here he's kind of just struggling through. He kind of feels like he's just saying his lines and moving on. Same thing with Dan DeVito, and I'm really let down by DeVito. As Frank on It's Always Sunny, The Penguin, everything he's done, he's usually just gleefully having a blast, especially with a character like this, and comparing it to the Big Fish character. He's just kind of there. It's not really bringing a lot of Danny DeVito to it, and of course there's no point where he gets on in his whitey tighties and rides the elephant, and that's the main thing there. We don't have Frank Reynolds riding Dumbo. I'm mad. When it comes to bad performances, I feel bad for this particular note, but it's got to be said. The two kids who play Colin Farrell's kids, who are essentially the leads of the movie, they're awful. I know they're kids, and getting on kid performers is kind of a iffy thing. But especially the girl, Millie, Nico Farmer, I think is her name. Everything is a set in this flat affect. And she goes for half of a second. And not in the same way that like Christina Ricci did as a kid. Even though she played Wednesday flat, it's part of her character and how it feels and it works. For Nico as Millie, it's just nothing there. There's no charisma, there's nothing coming out of her, and I don't know how this girl made it all the way through auditions, how she got chosen, how they watched the first set of dailies and said, yeah, she'll do. Because there's nothing here, and she's really dragging the movie down. The movie moves away from her into Michael Keaton and Colin Farrell in the second half, and let me just talk about Michael Keaton. I love Michael Keaton. I love him. He almost saves the movie. Definitely brings the movie up a notch when he comes in with Evergreen, who's kind of slumming it too. Michael Keaton is still chewing scenery all over the place. He always having a good time. Here he's playing an evil version of Walt Disney, and he's just leaning into it, and he brings an energy to the movie that no one else does. So whenever he was around, I was having a good time watching him, especially as he starts to fall apart towards the end when his little scheming doesn't work. He's the bad guy, by the way. Spoilers. Spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen the trailer or figures out the second he walks on screen. It's like, that's the bad guy. When they replicate a scene from Batman with the Joker and Jack Palance, you know. I don't know if that was supposed to be a direct Batman reference, but it sure felt like it. So there does gain energy in the second half when they move from this old school circus to this modern, super modern for now, Coney Island, Disneyland, Tomorrowland that he's made. That's just huge. This place is amazing, and I can't believe, and it kind of takes me out from the movie for a second because it makes it seem like everything on this place hinges on the flying elephant. If Dumbo fails, this place will fail too. But it's huge. It's massive. It's got these two giant Ferris wheels going around like this. This is 1919, so this is a scientifically advanced world. In 1919, when they go there, when they're in Kansas and stuff, it's still 1919 like you'd expect. Maybe a little more sciencey, and there's a lot of Epcot in there too. So Epcot, Tomorrowland, Coney Island, all becoming this one big thing. These huge roller coasters. There's pavilions like the World of Science. Because I forgot to mention that the little girl one of her character traits is that she likes science. It doesn't enter the movie at all. You think it's a setup for something that's going to play off. Doesn't do. You can cut her liking science out of the movie. It makes no difference at all to the plot. Or anything that happens. You think maybe they're going to help use that at the end. There's this giant monster island with these fake cryptids, which I really enjoyed as a person likes cryptids and stuff like that. Like the werewolf of Central Park, and there's an alligator that has some stuff on it, makes it Reptilicus. That might have been what it's called, or it's the Mystery Science Theater movie. So this thing was really cool to look at, but it makes me wonder why people were so interested in flying elephant when you can ride a double Ferris wheel. Walker has really great design. It's like this moves the focus from Dumbo and makes Team Dumbo really quaint in his own movie. Dumbo himself looks pretty solid. His CG is mostly good. There's a couple shots that's kind of weird. He has this really human-like eyes, and that's kind of disconcerting, replicating his eyes from the original movie. His mom, Jumbo, looks great, but the other CG, it's a little iffy. Everything feels a little too fake. A lot of the sets feel really faked. It feels like a lot of green screen. and that doesn't quite gel completely. But for the most part, it's solid. Some of the animals don't look really good because it's really hard to make an animal and all that fur look right. And maybe that's why you only see them for half of a second, like the mouse and other things. There's references to the original film peppered throughout, like I said, Big Elephants on Parade, the little mouse in the conductor's uniform. And there's a really, really awful part in which the guy says, "Let's get ready to rumble!" Comes out to talk about Dumbo with that. And that really took me completely out of the movie. I don't know why they did. So Dumbo is ultimately a huge, so I wouldn't say it's let down. I kind of came in with low expectations and I was kind of hoping to be raised. It kind of met right where it's going to be. It's an alright movie to watch, put on your TV, kind of as you do other things as you read. It's not worth going out to the theater for. It's low energy with bland performances outside of Michael Keaton, who's just killing it. It doesn't bring a lot to it. It's kind of an underwhelming start of the year when you get Aladdin and Lion King coming out later on, which I'm not really too keen on either. The Disney live action remakes have been kind of meh. I really like Jungle Book. I didn't like Beauty and the Beast. I liked a lot of Cinderella. I didn't like other parts. And Maleficent was mostly solid. So we'll see where those go, but Dumbo is no wonder. Like, I think that's why he put out now in April, before it'd get lost in the mix with everything else. It gives us a chance to shine before Infinity War. Lion King's gonna be bigger, Aladdin's gonna be bigger. So I'm gonna give Tim Burton's Dumbo a C-. Go ahead and go to cityofgeek.com to see other reviews we have. We have written reviews, we got the Stephen King stuff, and we'll see you next time. Us should be up soon. I'm very late with that. I'm working on that right now. It should be up tomorrow. The Carrie review for Stephen King retrospective should be up next couple of days as well. Cody's working on his own review for Dumbo, so look for that, and we'll see you later. Have a good one.